Mounce, BBG, chapter 17, sentence 5, starts with autoi. So you see that nominative plural ending there from autos, and he says probably the subject because it's nominative, and you would be right because that's also going to line up with the verb, which is third plural, which is they are, and here you have a they, so they are. And then you have this prepositional phrase, which again, hopefully you get in the habit of yanking that out and tossing it until after the verb, which is what I would do here. They are from the world, or out from is, a possibility, but I would just say they're from the world. That's their origin, or their point of origin is kind of the idea here. Okay. So dia tuto, Mounce, of course, is always going to say for this reason as an expression. I would encourage you, again, when you see dia, always think because of first. You sometimes it's going to be through in certain contexts, but more often than not, I just let my brain go with because of until I see a good reason not to. And in that case, you'd say because of this. Well, again, what's the reason? What's the difference between because of this and for this reason? I would tell you be quite content over time, if you're doing a bunch of translation work, to just go with because of this. So anyway, they are from the world because of this, or from this, or for this reason. Then again, you got the same prepositional phrase, so yank it out for a second and jump to the verb, and then you can do the same thing with the prepositional phrase. But for this reason, or because of this, they speak, and here you have that, what you would recognize. I'm trying to highlight these. Not going to happen, I don't think. Usi with the movable nu, so it's third plural. And the difference here is, of course, that you see that circumflex overhead. So you see that circumflex. You say, what's the reason for that circumflex? Just remember the lexical form, laleo. As soon as you hear yourself say laleo, you know you're dealing with a contract verb again. So present active indicative, third plural from laleo. So they speak. So for this reason, they speak from the world. All right. So, and that leads you up to the kai. But again, this clause here, for this reason or because of this, they speak from the world. And notice you're doing the same thing. You're tossing the prepositional phrase to the after the verb. All right. Excuse me if I'm messing up here a little bit in terms of what I'm saying, but hopefully that makes sense to everybody. All right, and then you've got the kai, so then that breaks it up to your next clause, hokosmos, the world, and then you have a strange construction, might be strange to you, but jump to the verb for a second. The world, that's a kuo, and so if it's going to line up with world, it's got to be a third singular. Third singular is what you got with a kue, osa, so it's third singular from a kuo, which is hears. So, and the world hears, and then you have autone. So you look at that and you go, autone, that's a genitive plural. Why would it be in the genitive if it's a direct object? Well, it just so happens, if you don't know this collocation rule yet, that the verb akuo can take its direct object, not always, but can take its direct object in the genitive. It's one of those odd verbs. Something like verbs of communication and cognition taking their direct object in the dative, a kuo can take its direct object in the genitive. So just a very unusual situation, and a kuo is the only verb off the top of my head that does that. There may be others, but it's the only one that off the top of my head that does this. And again, that is a collocation rule. Collocation rule is, certain words go with certain other kinds of words, sort of like certain prepositions take certain cases. Why? Well, it's the way the language works. And it just so happens that the way the Greek language works with the verb akouo, or hearing, is that it can often take its direct object in the genitive. Strange deal. It's the way it works. So again, that's called a collocation rule. One of several I would hope you would recognize and memorize before the end of the course. But the world hears them. So you're going to translate it as a direct object, as though it were a simple accusative, just because you know that collocation rule. All right? So they are from the world for this reason, or because of this. The world, I'm sorry, they speak from the world, and the world hears them.